this is Alistair, and he's going to talk at you. Just shout at them.
I don't know if that's technology anyway. Hello. So I'm, as you may have just seen, SR's events guy, which means I get the dubious honour of doing the health and safety talk. So very briefly, in the event of the building catching fire, try not to also catch fire. The exits are located here and here, but we'll be trying to go out those ones and going out the north door to the building. The assembly point is in the car park. You can't go through the south door, so be aware of that. I'll be running through some other stuff when we get to the cube a bit later for the white man there. Essentially, don't do anything stupid. Sam?
Yeah, just configuring some microphones. Okay.
Oh, technology.
Technical difficulties, always a great way to start this thing. Cool. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Student Robotics Kickstart 2013. It's early, I haven't had my caffeine yet, so I'm going to do the best job I can. I'm Sam Phippin. I'm a fourth year undergraduate computer science student at the University of Bristol, and I also kind of run the Bristol branch of Student Robotics with some other people, Tim and Joe, who I think are outside doing things, which is awesome. So we're kind of here to build robots. I just want to talk a little bit about who runs the competition and then actually get into what is going to happen today. So with that, we are mostly students from these two universities, the University of Southampton and the University of Bristol. There are also a number of us who aren't from these places, including Steve, who is from Oxford, and some people from the Munich hackerspace who are with us today, aren't with us today? No, not with us today, which is kind of sad, but they'll hopefully get to see some of these materials because we're trying to record some things. We run this competition with the help of our very lovely sponsors, who are the Motorola Foundation and Bitbox. And before we actually get started with explaining what the competition is, I'd like to just play you a short 2-minute video clip.
You know, I love this idea of radical openness, the free exchange of information, the free flow of ideas, creating spaces in which ideas can have sex, as Matt Ridley talks about. And this is huge because it turns out that ideas are just as real as the neurons they inhabit, as James Blake tells us. You know, a new kingdom rises above the biosphere. Denizens of this kingdom are ideas, because ideas have retained some of the properties of organisms, it turns out. They leap from brain to brain. They compete for the limited resources of our attention. They have infectivity. They have spreading power. They are what Richard Dawkins calls the new replicators, born from the primordial soup of human culture. Their vector of transmission is language and electronic communication. And though ideas are not made of nucleic acid, they have achieved more evolutionary change, and at a rate that leaves the old gene panting far behind. You know, Ray Kurzweil says our ability to create virtual models in our heads, combined with our modest-looking thumbs, was sufficient to usher in the secondary force of evolution called technology. And it will continue until the entire universe is at our fingertips. This is unbelievable stuff. It speaks to the telescopic nature of evolutionary change. More change in the last 100 years than in the last billion years. Terence McKenna actually wrote that from the moment that human beings invented language, biological evolution essentially ceased, and evolution became a cultural epigenetic phenomenon. Now, we take in matter of low organization, we put it through our mental filters, and we extrude it in the form of space shuttles and iPhones. You know, the imaginary foundation tells us that what imagination does is it allows us to conceive of delightful future possibilities, pick the most amazing one, and pull the present forward to meet it. You know, imagine how impoverished this world would have been if we hadn't invented the technology of the oil painting in time for Van Gogh, or the technology of the musical instrument in time for Beethoven and Mozart to unfurl through it, you know, with the revolutions in biotechnology, nanotechnology, the free exchange of information is allowing us to conceive of radical new things. Freeman Dyson says, in the future, new generation of artists will be writing genomes with the fluency that Blake and Byron wrote verses. What is great in man, said Nietzsche, is that he is a bridge and not an end. You know, we're on a trajectory smack in the middle between the born and the made, wrote Kevin Kelly. And so, radical openness, it's huge. It's a universe of possibility. It's gray infused by color. It's the invisible revealed. It's the mundane blown away by awe. We need to cultivate radical openness as a way of participating in accelerating evolution. Wow.
Cool. So that was just an ode to technology and ideas. I thought it was cool, and I thought you guys would like it. So we're here to build robots. Put your hands up if you've never come to the competition before. You're completely new. This is your first time here. Wow. That's like, is that more than half? That's
way more.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Put your hands up if your school has never competed in this competition before. Okay. Okay, cool. So we've got a few new schools here. That's pretty excellent. So for those of you that don't know what our robots typically look like, I thought I'd show you some pictures of my favorite ones. So this guy is awesome. What he does is he has these little arms that come down and you grab the block and then they lift. But they only lift to 90 degrees. What happens when you release something at 90 degrees? It basically falls forward or backwards at random. This means half the time the block would fall inside the robot and everyone in the room would cheer, and that's absolutely fantastic. And the other half the time it would fall forward, and everyone in the room would be kind of sad. And it's even the team competing against this robot wanted it to succeed because it was just that awesome, and I love that. Giant spike wheel of doom. I'm not going to say anything else about this robot, it's just that. We gave this robot the committee award last year because we thought it was really, really inventive. It had a sort of little suction cup that would come down and grab these little tokens. And you may see a theme emerging here, which is that you kind of have a box with some wheels in it and a collection mechanism. One team decided they were going to defy that paradigm and did this. They built a Thunderbird with their robot. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and that's really cool. So now that we've actually had a look at the robots, I guess you guys need to know how we go from scratch to actually building them. So we're going to start today with a bunch of talks about how you build your robots, how you work with kind of electronics, how you program them. Then you're going to spend some time actually building your robots. And here is where you're going to need to source some components to actually go inside it. We're going to give you a simple mechanical kit, some screws, some nuts and bolts, that sort of thing. And there's also a budget included in this. I think it's about 75, 70 pounds, around that mark. Someone's holding their hands up, but I can't see what they're saying. So that's super cool. And you also need to get some motors and some wheels. And once you've done that, you've basically got your sort of baseline skeleton robots. We're going to give you some electronics. And these were kind of designed by our team. They're kind of cool. They look like this. They're little electronic boards in sort of nice plastic cases. We designed them to be quite robust, and I don't know if you can see this, but there's an exploded component on the back of this one. Please don't do this. We like it when our electronics don't explode. That's fun. You're going to have to write some code. There are no remote controls in this competition. The robots are fully autonomous. They act on their own for 3 minutes in a kind of arena type situation. And I personally think that everyone on your team should be writing code. Steve is probably going to tell you a bit more about this. He calls it the hit by a bus factor. Some other stuff. And if you don't code, you're going to have a bad time. Your program's not going to show up. He's going to be on holiday, or ill, or die, and your team won't be able to function at the competition. So everyone, really, learn how to program. I'm serious about this. We're going to have 6 tech days. 3 here at the University of Southampton and 3 at the University of Bristol. The Bristol ones are booked, but I can't remember what dates they are. And the Southampton ones, I don't think have firm dates yet at all. Along the way, you're probably going to have some magic happen, and you're going to go from this pile of electronics and not very much code, and it's just going to suddenly get some amazing intelligent behavior, and you're going to feel really smart, and that's great. And then we're going to have our competition, and the competition is, as you've seen from the video, a sort of huge 2-day event involving all the teams. I think we've got 36 teams signed up to the competition here, which in my head I equate to about 300 sixth formers, and of that, only one team's going to win. And the competition this year is 13th to 14th of April. Write that date down, it's important. You guys might think that's a lot of time. I actually did the maths. 161 days, and that turns out to be 5 months, 10 days. That is not a lot of time. Typically, we've had an extra month or 2 on this competition, and so teams have been really able to spend a little bit more time in the planning phase. And I think Alistair mentioned this in the video. It's my opinion that you guys need to start building your robots like next week, right? You need to really begin executing as soon as you can. Because if you spend your time chatting about design decisions, 2 of those 5 months will disappear, and suddenly you don't have the time to actually build an awesome robot. And that's kind of what we're trying to get you to do here. And then someone in this room, or maybe not if they're not here, will be victorious. We have a number of prizes that we're going to give out. I can tell you right now, these are first, second, and third in the actual competition itself. There is a Web Presence Award. We really want you guys to kind of build a blog or something, you know, a Twitter feed or Flickr. Show us interesting pictures of your robot. Show us how you're building it. Show us what's going on. We really, really want to see how that happens. There is a committee award. This is given out by the Student Robotics Steering Committee, which is made up of 6 people, and we basically vote on which robot we think is the best by, it's kind of, there's no sort of hard qualities we're looking for, it's just a robot that we collectively think is awesome at doing something. There's a First Movement Award. This is for a robot that moves for a certain amount of time and then stops under its own free will. There's some stuff in the rules about this. We'll give this out by you guys upload a YouTube video to our forums, and then we watch it and we go, yep, that robot moved first. And we finally have the Team Image Award, which is kind of for the team that we think has like the best spirit. They have built the most like amazing kick-ass robot. It looks awesome. The team is like always smiling. They're working well together. We like to see that, and so we like to kind of give out an award. And these prizes are typically associated with a non-trivial amount of chocolate, so you might want to do this. The schedule for the day looks roughly like this. So we've got this intro talk, which I'm doing now. Game talk, which Mr. Rob is doing, and that will be about what the actual game is. We're going to start our mini competition, which is kind of where you guys, we try and pack a year into not very long. So you have to build a sort of simple thing and then compete. You're going to have lunch, everyone knows what that is.
Looking forward to that.
There's going to be a talk on mechanics, which is how you might actually go about building your robot. Electronics, which is our bits and bobs that we have. We're going to have a tea break. I'm going to do a talk on how to write code. Alistair, who you met earlier, is going to talk about tactics and strategy. And then we're going to have kit collection and send you guys home. This is where you guys can actually get the electronics, the mechanical bits and bobs you're going to need to get your robot started. And yeah, I'd like to leave you with this thought, which is, hello, this is Dog. Don't spend your time talking to dogs. Spend your time actually building your robot. This is important.
Oh, good.
So,
Oh dear, that was painful.
with that, I'm going to use good luck and rapid prototyping. Now Rob is going to come talk to you.